We're heading towards the election, less than 100 days to go. A lot of protests by Democrats that voter ID laws are discriminatory because Black people can't use phones and computers to register. Got a cute video to show you how silly that thought is. As we're talking about the Democrats registering people for them to be able to vote, and you mention this all the time about how racist some of the comments coming out of the Democrat Party is, that Black people especially have no ability to register themselves to vote. They can't use their cell phones. They can't use their computers. And so they don't have to show ID if they go vote, or someone can vote for them, or someone can register for them. Somebody put out this video as a kind of a takeoff on 2001: A Space Odyssey, but it's really directed at the Democrat Party. Take a look, and it's kind of worth a giggle, even though it's serious.
Now we have, young Black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word a computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things. And I want the world to open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology.
I just showed you a little bit of it. That's Hillary Clinton explaining how this obviously looks like a kid from the jungle walks or hops in like a monkey into an Apple store and is, oh, look at the computers. What is this? But the racism is so graphic. You've heard it 100 times that they can't go to the DMV to get ID, and they can't register themselves. They don't have driver's licenses. They don't have credit cards. And then they send men out on the street to interview people, and everyone goes, yeah, I have a driver's license. I have a laptop. I have a cell phone, and they're all smartphones. I mean, it's so racist. And yet you need ID for every other act as an adult in America, except the one that's the most important, your vote. Is that going to change, or is the racism going to continue now that you have both tickets established?
I know this going to continue. They're just going to figure out a different way to manipulate people. And if I'm not mistaken, that was Governor Hochul that was talking about Black people. Governor Hochul not being able to use a computer. But Hillary Rodham Clinton is just as bad. I mean, she's just as bad when it comes to Black people. But this is what the Democrat Party is all about, Barry. They've figured out how to control Black people so much. And prime example of this, let me ask you a question. When Kamala Harris was selected to be at the top of the ticket, what was the first ethnicity group that they ran to? Do you know?
Well, let me think. The first rally was Black women in Atlanta.
Yes, that's exactly it. They ran straight to Black, just like every 2 to 4 years. They do this just like clockwork. They run directly to Black women, anticipation of getting Black women to draw in Black men. And then, of course, white liberals, they do what they do. Barry, they just had a complete webinar with nothing but Black women, right? And then they had another webinar with nothing but white women. Then they had another webinar of nothing but white men talking about segregation. The Democrats did it then, and they're still doing it today. So if you were a white and you wanted to join the Black women for Kamala Harris, they would have kicked you out. Same thing. But I guess if you were Black and you joined them, then they say, oh, this is what I wonder if they would have said this is only for white women for Kamala Harris. They wouldn't have said it, because then they'll be using their white privilege. But Barry, the point is, the Democrat Party, they are the party of racism. They're going to continue doing it. Just like the webinar, just like what you mentioned with Black people not being able to operate a computer, to use a computer, they're still doing it. They're just doing it on a level where they're manipulating people where they can't even comprehend that they're being deceived. And you get and I say this all the time when I do videos, stupid Black people. I can't stand it to no end. They fall for this with the Democrat Party, and they just do what they're told to do. They believe what they're told to believe. And most of them know that it's the Democrat Party. And then they bring up Jim Crow Joe, or they leave the Joe part out. They bring up Jim Crow, not knowing that Jim Crow was still a Democrat policy. I'm like, At what point do you look at the history of what you're talking about? At what point do you do that? And they don't do it.
Well, facts
don't do it.
Facts don't matter.
No, it doesn't. It's just, well, this is how I feel about you.
Feelings matter, Will. Feelings matter.
It's like